Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Strifetech, and I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. Is it worth your time? On trial today, Doom Eternal. Created by id Software, they're most known for their Doom series, Quake, and Wolfenstein. This was released in 2020. It's a first-person shooter where you are the Doom Marine slaughtering demons. This is a direct follow-up to the critically acclaimed Doom game that was released in 2016. Because of this, I'll be making many references to that game and how it evolved for better and for worse. So if you haven't seen my original Doom review, I recommend watching that. It's linked down below. In Doom 2016, we stopped the invasion, we saved Vega, and the game ended with us being captured by Hayden. He stole the Crucible from us, and we were teleported away to who knows where. We load up into Doom Eternal, and the first things we see, the moon's blown up, the Earth's under attack, I'm in a giant floating space base. I guess Vega's there at least, and I only have a shotgun, so I guess we lost everything else. Oh, and we do have a random new weapon on our suits.
For it is he that they fear, not man, or his armies.
No idea where that came from. So we get geared up, a portal opens, and we have to kill a Hell Priest. No idea what those are. And then when we kill him, we toss him a coin.
Remains guarded.
Toss a coin to your witcher.
No idea where the coin came from. At this point, I literally stopped playing and went to go see if I missed a DLC from the previous game, or a book, or a movie, or a blog post, or something. Nope, there's none of that. This is just how they decided to start the story. The story they do give you is good. The storytelling in this took a little bit different approach than the last game. From actual cutscenes to a ton of lore just floating around on red papers you find in the world, the story gets really good about halfway through. You learn about the Doom guy's origin and a lot more stuff that I don't really want to spoil. I really only had two issues with the story. The gaping holes at the beginning that maybe in DLC one day they'll flash back and explain what on earth happened. And second was just the overall pacing. We're mixing such high intensity action with these long lore dumps and paragraphs and cinematics. It just felt odd. We still get the typical high energy Doom gameplay that we came to know and love in Doom 2016. However, whilst it takes some meaningful steps forward, it also takes a few steps backwards and messes up some of the basics that made the original so good. Let's start with the good. The movement took a huge upgrade and they added a large amount of verticality to the game. You start right away with double jump and you're quickly introduced to these poles that help you vault up and get even higher, and then you're given dash and double dash. These enhancements made it so that they could increase the amount of enemies per encounter and make them more difficult. Then, on top of the dash, swing, jump, midair dash, they give you the super shotgun. This is hands down my favorite weapon in the entire game. The super shotgun has a meat hook on it, and it acts like a grappling hook of sorts.
Using grapple.
This in conjunction with all the other movement abilities just felt incredible. My only complaint is that I wish the meat hook could have become something on the Predator suit itself, rather than having to pull out the super shotgun each time to use it. Now, the bad, and it outweighs the good. Doom Eternal decided to give almost every enemy some sort of weakness. This is a stark difference to Doom, where there was a tooltip that said, if the enemy has a head, it's probably the weak point. Now, the problem isn't that there are weaknesses, it's how they are introduced and how you are required to use them. You are constantly peppered with tooltips about enemies' weaknesses and how to defeat them before you even meet them. This is an awful way of doing it, and this ruins so many potential surprises, and not only that, it ruins epic moments of the game itself. Here's an awesome cinematic. The boss is all getting ready, all geared up, cinematic ends, he's already launching rockets, and, oh hey look, tooltip on how to defeat him. There are much better ways to do this. They could have revealed it in the codex after you've killed so many of them, or just let the player discover them on their own. However, given the current implementation, both of those options would have felt awful. Not using the weak point is a huge waste of time, ammo, and it will honestly just get you killed. Here's an example. Pinky has a weak point in the tail. After 3 quick shots, he's dead. Now, if we just try to shoot him, there we go. 8+ shots with the same weapon, plus some other shots from the rifle, and he's still fine. Another example, the Cacodemon. The weak point of a grenade in his mouth instantly kills him. Yet, just shooting him, it takes 10 seconds and 8 shots. In the actual encounters, 10 seconds is a lifetime, and you are not going to get that time to focus on a single enemy like this. You also didn't get the joy of figuring this out on your own, that if you shoot a grenade in his mouth, something happens, or Pinky happens to go down faster by hitting him in the tail. They told you before you even met the enemy, and this is just the beginning. They added some new abilities to go with the grenades and chainsaw that you previously had, Blood Punch and Flame Belcher. Now, these would be fun if you weren't so required and heavily pushed to use them. You are basically spamming these on cooldown to ensure you have health, armor, and ammo. This is a huge departure from the gameplay and feel of the first game. Instead of being the Doomslayer that runs on pure instinct, rage, and adrenaline, which is exactly how the lore describes him, you are now the Doomslayer that follows the choreographed dance with specific moves that must be done in order to succeed. You're playing DDR or just dance instead of Doom at this point. Moving on. They kept the rune system around, however they dramatically changed it in a bad way. Previously, you'd find a rune, complete the challenge, and be given a passive ability that could then be upgraded later. You changed them around as you found different ones across different levels and depending on the upgrades they had. In Doom Eternal, when you find a statue, you get to pick one of the 9 abilities, and then you can have 3 of these active at once. The issue here is that on the very first statue, you can look and read all 9 of the abilities and plan out the 3 you want. So after the first 3 statues, I had the 3 abilities I wanted that I kept the entire game. The next 6 statues I find are useless and disappointing. I already know what's in there, I've already picked the 3 I want, I can only have 3. Better options could have been limiting the ones that you were able to pick, just make each statue an individual ability, or add an upgrade system where you sacrifice or bank the statue to upgrade one of the passives you already have. Anything would have been better than the current implementation. They've also added more currencies. We have suit points, weapon points, battery, and mastery. Weapon points are about the same as they were before. Mastery actually just gives you the ability to skip the final challenge of a weapon. Suit points will let you invest into your suit, and then the batteries themselves let you upgrade and unlock various parts of your ship. And then there's actually crystals, which will give you your health, ammo, and upgrade points, and getting 2 of these unlocks a secondary perk. Honestly, it felt like they wanted to do more RPG, but held back. But in doing that, it landed in this nebulous realm of not good, not great, and this isn't the Doomslayer. They did add the Doomslayer quarters to your ship, where you get to see all the random collectibles you got. That was a nice touch. The graphics in the game are just gorgeous, and everything's been so well optimized. I've heard it can run on a Tamagotchi.
And anyone expecting fully representative depictions out of Doom Eternal, which could run fluidly on a Tamagotchi, is going to be sorely disappointed. And obviously, that was hyperbole, but it's not far off.
We get much more dynamic and beautiful environments than the previous game, along with that new weapon models, and it just all looks gorgeous. Except for this. This is complete and utter garbage. The gun is just randomly floating around, spinning, and green. I know, it's not easy being green, but this is a huge step backwards from how you previously found guns. They were just part of the environment. You found them in places that made sense. Now, I could more understand this in maybe a multiplayer deathmatch aspect. You aren't trying to experience the story at that point. Your goal is to frag the other people that are there. And being able to see the weapons is very important. But in a single player experience, it's just awful. Oh, and the collectibles that you'd found previously that were just sort of sitting there on the ground that you'd find, they're just floating question marks now. Mick Gordon again has composed something incredible. I know there's some controversy around the mastering of the tracks and whatnot. I didn't follow it too closely. I just know that what I heard while playing the game was amazing. But even moving away from the music, the sound in the game itself, the guns, they all sound so impactful and powerful. It just really adds to the feel of the game. So, is it worth your time? For the most part, yes. Though it does have some great additions, it still pales in comparison to the original. I actually went back to play the original to capture some of the footage, and the only thing I really missed was the movement system. But at a full price of $60, the game only took me about 24 hours to finish on the hardest difficulty, and with all the complaints I had, I'd feel bad paying that price. I've seen it on sale many times for $20, so if you find it at that price, absolutely, pick it up, you will enjoy this. At some point, I'll come back and review the DLCs and maybe the multiplayer, but we'll see if we ever get around to that. My name's been StrifeTech, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to click that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Is It Worth Your Time?